Hello and welcome to Context. I'm Enrico Wilford. Thank you so much for joining us on this Capital News Context platform. Joining me on Context today is the Honorable Amenza Walton-Desir. And as most of you may know by now, Amenza Walton-Desir has resigned from the People's National Congress. She was the shadow minister for foreign affairs in the administration of the parliament, so to speak. Now she is launching out on her own. I know you've explained this before, but tell us in a succinct manner, why was it necessary to do what you did?
Thank you for having me, Enrico, and thank you for that very important question. I did what I did because of the people and for the people. Like I said yesterday, this is not about Amenza. This is about responding to the cry of our nation for change and for something different. This is about giving the people of Guyana the opportunity to choose. This is about moving our country away from the either or either system. It is either this or that. It is either choosing one of the two lesser evils rather than the greatest of possibilities. And that is what I truly believe. Our system has been this way since independence, and our country is where it is. We still have poor and needy people who are becoming more desperate every day in the midst of all of the plenty that's available, in the midst of a booming economy, in the midst of revenue that we've never seen before. We still have poorly paid public servants. We still have not had constitutional reform to the degree that we require it. And so I believe that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And the people of Guyana are hungry for change. They're hungry for something different. And so, like I said, when I made the announcement that I am stepping out, to step forward and to step up. And so at the heart of this is really a response to the cry of the people for a change and for something different.
Any election you're going into, it's about winning. You don't go into an election to lose, do you? Have you done your numbers? Do you know where you're likely to get support? Who are the people likely to support you? And why are they likely to support you?
We have done our groundwork. We do not enter this lightly. You enter into a race to win, and winning looks like achieving your objective. And so we've done our research, we've done our groundwork, and we are simply heartened by the response that we've gotten so far. Hundreds and hundreds volunteering, etc., or signing up to volunteer. So we are so motivated by the response that we've seen. And so for every 2 negatives, you have 10 positives. And so we've chosen to focus on the positive feedback. We've chosen to focus on the encouragement, because that is how every movement starts. When it starts out, you will have naysayers, you will have detractors. History is so replete with examples of people who were told, oh, this is impossible. It will not be done, until it was done. And whilst you can never guarantee the outcome, I think duty is our business and reward, not our concern. So we are deeply encouraged. We've done the groundwork and we're encouraged by what we see. We're happy that so many people are receiving this message of what we're trying to do, breaking the status quo, giving the Guyanese people options, allowing them the freedom to choose, and allowing them to feel as if, okay, when I exercise my franchise, I did it as an act of conscience, because this is something I can support, and not because it is something that my grandmother, my grandfather, my parents supported.
Now that brings me to the question about your own heritage. Do you think
Absolutely.
Your parents would be disappointed that you have moved out of the of their party, and you want to move forward with another party, if I could excuse the pun, if you could excuse the pun.
Well, I think my parents would be disappointed if I didn't follow purpose, because that was the one thing that they taught me. To always be able to think for myself and to assess for myself and to go forward and make moves that I know are resonant with what I feel in my spirit, what I feel in my soul is the right thing to do. And, my mother said something to me the day before she passed. She said, one of the things that I love about you, Manza, is that you will do what you say you will do, and I do not have to worry about whether you will keep your word. And so for me, while it was painful because, I absolutely love my brothers and sisters in the PNC, that party shaped my identity, shaped everything that I know. But in so many instances, history is replete with people who have had to take the bold and courageous step of leaving all that they know in order to discover what they could become, what this nation could become. And so as this whole walk unfolds, the only thing that I could do is be true to my intentions and understand that my intentions are pure, and it is never to harm, but it is to help this nation. Like I said yesterday, the PNC shaped the person that I am, and I will always have that at heart, and I will always have the PNC at heart. But there comes a time that you have to step out and step forward, and that is what I am choosing to do. And not everyone will agree, but those that see the vision will join it, and they will walk along. I am sure that when the founder of the PNC saw that vision, people came and walked along beside him, and that is how the PNCR was born.
And you did that in talking about the formation of the PNC and the fact that Guyanese over the years have seen the two big parties going. Now let's go back to 1953. I don't think either of the two of us were born. Although I look that, I wasn't born during that period. But
the time that they existed impacted the political landscape in a very interesting manner. You might recall that the People's National Congress was able to get into government because it collaborated with one of those smaller parties in the 1960s. Again, in 2015, you saw an emergent AFC being a collaborative partner in assisting the PNC and the APNU to come to power. So the importance of these movements should not be discounted because they impacted the political landscape in Guyana for the better. And I think we ought to bear history in mind within that context, as we are in context when we have these deliberations. So to discount the importance of these, as we call them, smaller parties, or in Forward Guyana's case, movements like these, is to be, I think, selective in how we recall the impacts that these movements have made in the political landscape since the time of our independence, actually.
Well, let's be honest about our history, Joe. The fact that you have to coalesce with a smaller party to take on the People's Progressive Party, it tells you that the People's Progressive Party is a formidable party, is a formidable force in the society, unless you're saying that's not the case.
Oh, I'm certainly not. I'm not saying that is the case. That is not what I'm saying at all. I am responding to, I understand the impact that these movements can make on the political landscape, and people may not agree. There are others who are exuberant about it and for it, and that is where we will focus our energies, because, as you've rightly said, the PPPC is a is a formidable political party, and so you may have an all hands on deck approach in terms of the objective, and I've made it very, very clear that there is no coalescing or joining with the People's Progressive Party, because I believe that our interests are diametrically opposed.
Now, there also been accusations, and forgive me, but I have to deal with some of the naysayers, that here is a man, the man's a Walton-Desir, resigning from the People's National Congress, having served just recently in Parliament. But by the next day, within the hour, she was able to put out ads and have her machinery flowing. It either speaks of your efficiency within an hour, 2 hours, or that you were planning this all along and you had the machinery behind you to do this. And the question, therefore, is, should people trust you based on the fact that you were working along all the time with the People's National Congress, and then, as Guyanese would say, whoops, you just switched and gone over to your own unit?
If the accusation of efficiency is something that I have to be accused of, then that is fine by me, Enrico. That is absolutely fine by me. But for the record, I sought and obtained a meeting. And for everybody who knows me, they know that I've stood 10 toes down. 10 toes down, as you know, as the saying goes. In the PNC, I have served, and I will continue to serve, irrespective of the fact that I was sidelined, that, all manner of things were said and done. You've never heard me one day say a negative word about the PNC, and you will not hear me say that. You will not hear me say that. So, the accusations will fly, they will say whatever. I will not, you'll not find that here. You'll not find that here.
But was it a anti-leader, an anti-Aubrey Compton Norton position? Or was that the party itself had various issues that caused you to make the difficult decision that you say you made?
Well, I was very clear. I was very clear that I sought a meeting with the leader of the party. We had a discussion. We had an hour-long discussion, actually, and that was followed by a subsequent meeting with another person assigned by the leader of the opposition. And at the end of the meeting with the leader of the opposition, like I said, it became very clear that he did not see a role for me in particular respects. And so if it is a case where you do not see a role for me in a particular respect, you do not see a role for me in terms of the infrastructure for campaign, etc., that you've set up. So if a person believes that they have a contribution to make and they believe in the strength and the courage of their conviction, then that person should be free to exercise it. For me, I did the right thing. I met with the leader, we had a discussion. I indicated what my next steps would be. I resigned as is required of me, and I launched along with the support of really, really good folks, Forward Guyana. And so I have said to the leader of the opposition that my work will continue to be dedicated towards combating the PPP's domination and control. So I would like to think that we are on the same side. I would like to think that we have similar objectives.
What is your objective for Guyana? All 83,000 square miles. There is no way that you could have entered the studio in Georgetown. I'm speaking from New York. You're in Georgetown, and not notice that there are, shall we call them, houses right across the alleyway in Georgetown in deplorable conditions, and people are living in those, under those conditions. What is your vision for the country?
Enrico, I believe in a Guyana where Guyanese men and women, irrespective of whatever class or creed or religion or whichever region they may be from, could enjoy a quality life. We have the resources, we have everything that we need to deliver a good life to the people of Guyana, to deliver a life where if they know that they work hard, they'll be able to build and leave a legacy and an inheritance. And the only reason is because there is a lack of political will to deliver it to the people of Guyana. We have traversed this over and over and over again, and we are here today still. And so I reject any proposition that I should not stand up and say, we have to do something about this. I reject that out of hand. You have women who are going to bed hungry because they have had to make the decision that their children will eat and they will starve themselves. We have vendors and sell $5,000 worth of goods on any given day because foreign businesses have been allowed to come in and to set up and to crowd them out. And there is no social safety net that this government has put in place to cushion those people. We have lawlessness on our roads. We have a country that is earning $7 million US per day from oil revenue at this point, and the public servants cannot get a proper increase. We have a police force that is corrupt. We have a constitution that needs reformation. And so when people come to me to say, oh, you must wait your turn, tell the mother that wants to feed her children to wait her turn. Would you do that? Can you tell them to wait their turn? It is irresponsible if you know that you are able to stand up and make a difference, not to stand up and make a difference. And so I have chosen to stand up. I have chosen to say, this is how I believe I will contribute to the development of this nation.
I'm with Amanda Walton-Desir, and she is on Context with me. It would appear that we've had some technical difficulties, and we lost each other momentarily. But let's go back with on the vision, and let's go towards what is it that the various regions of this country could expect from a Forward Guyana movement, meaning that we now have money. We've always had plans. We've always had the plan to do what is now the Heroes Highway, the Del Conte Road. You know, we've always had plans to tarmac, if I can say, asphalt the road to Brazil, do the thing to Ituni and Oriala and what have you, spread things out around the country. What are your specific plans for the regions? So what could Region 10, Region 9, Region 7, Region 4 expect from you?
Enrico, thank you for that question. I think it's very, very important. I believe very firmly that the regions ought to have far greater autonomy in the management of their affairs. Again, the system has been set up in a manner that could facilitate that. But we continue to be locked into this cycle of a lack of political will to do it. And I believe that there ought to be vested in regional governance and regional governments greater autonomy. Every region has to be taken within its context and within its geography, its population, etc. And what you will see coming from us are very concrete plans for every region. Linden, for example, where I am from, it has an airstrip, rivers, and the road. It has had for the last, from the time that it has existed, and particularly since that airstrip was built in the 50s, it has had that. It has a port. Yet Linden continues to be the most underdeveloped, but with the most potential. And we must ask ourselves, why is that? So in the coming weeks, what you will hear us rolling out, because politically you don't give all of your plans away, but what you will see is a focus on returning autonomy to the regions, not in the manner that the PPPC does it when they realize that elections are coming close. They call this region and give them this money, and they call that region and they give them that money. We have a national budget, and so allocations to regions should be determined in an equitable manner. So, like I said, we'll not give away everything now, but we will certainly be unrolling those plans. And what you will see that it will result in is an integrated and holistic type of development. So for a very, very long time, and this comes out of my, working in government for close to 2 decades, there has been a lack of integrated planning. There continues to be a lack of integrated planning. And so that is something that has to be tackled. So whilst you develop the regions with some level of autonomy, it feeds back into an integrated national development plan. And I am one that I've espoused this from the time I've been in the National Assembly, that we in Guyana, we need a national development plan, one that is agreed upon. Other countries in Latin America have done it. They have agreed over party lines in a bipartisan or a tripartisan manner that this is a developmental priority and we will pursue it, irrespective of who is in or out of government. And that model of cooperation around development has augured well for those states. But we here we are saddled with this cycle of 5 years. Every 5 years we build and we break and we build and we break. And that has to stop. It must stop for our sakes. We gained independence the same time with Singapore. And yes, there are different considerations in terms of the homogeneous nature of the Singaporean society, etc. There are those considerations. But there is no reason that we are so far behind. There is no reason why, with all of our vast resources, our people are still poor. The majority of our people are still poor. So the status quo is untenable. And Forward Guyana is saying that we believe that it is time to change the status quo.
Now you've gone on to Singapore. We could spend another 10 minutes on Singapore, because I think there are fundamental differences with regard to that. But let's keep that for another program. We've got to come to the end of this program at this stage. We will join you again, Amantha Walton-Desir, for you and your movement, your party, Forward Guyana, to explain to the public what exactly your plans are. As you just said, we want to lay them out. Thanks again for joining me on Capital.
Thank you for having me, Enrico. And it's always a pleasure sitting and talking with you in context.
Thank you so much. I'm Enrico Wilfer. Thank you for joining us. Have a pleasant rest of the day. Goodbye for now.